Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast, where purpose driven entrepreneurs turn self sabotage into self compassion and rise into their power. I am your host, Lauren Perlingi, here to share real conversations and tools to help you create a business and life aligned with your soul. So let's dive in. So, in today's episode, I have Robert here with me, an impact life coach who breaks people through their limitations and step into what he calls the big life. And I just have a feeling that this conversation is going to be powerful, grounded, and rooted in purpose. Everything that we talk about on the podcast. So let's dive in. Welcome, Robert. So happy to have you here with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course. So, kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and your journey so far and your journey to what you call the big life.
I was originally from Mexico City. Now I'm living in Toronto, Canada. So I've been living here for 15 years. So I was surrounded with, when I was a kid, by science. My parents were engineers, chemists, and even my cousins and everyone was around us. So I learned how to analyze things, and mostly I have this curiosity to understand everything. And so I ended up studying actuarial sciences, so finances, statistics. And since I was a kid, also I was very curious about human behavior. I didn't call it that way when I was a kid or a teenager, but I was really curious why people behave the way they behave, why they act the way they act, why they say they're going to do something and they do the opposite thing. So I don't know, I was curious about that. So I ended up studying that by myself. Even I ended up studying astrology, just if that could be, I could find the answers there. So, but really, my education was mainly in finances and statistics. So, but I had the opportunity to work in big corporations and the opportunity to marriage my passion of for human behavior and my statistics and numbers studies. When you put those two together, you end up with market research. So in almost 30 years, I worked with big corporations, multinational, multi-million dollars corporation, helping people make decisions, millions of dollars decisions, thinking and understanding the behavior of the consumer, of the purchaser, how people go after what they want, know what they need, and all those kind of things. So I help them launch brands, territories, change communication, advertising, just to get to the sale, to get to the income, to get to the profit that the companies needed. And to be honest, I became very good at it to help people make decisions. So one day I decided, you know what? I can help anyone. It's not just the same bunch of people year after year in one company. So 7 years ago, I decided to start my own practice and start working or helping people from in any stage of life, in any part of the world, for any objective in any industry, for whatever they really want. It's just a matter of making a decision. So that's why I ended up working on this, and I love it.
Yeah. First and foremost, I feel like when you were telling me a little bit about your story in the beginning as a child, I'm like, that's me too. It was me. I literally used to say that too. Like, why do people make this? Why do people think this way? Why do people? And I was saying, I would ask my parents this. Of course, they never really had the real truth to it or understand it. Um, but that's who I am today still. Like I'm obsessed with astrology, human design, gene keys, all of that, those systems, because it helped me understand all of that in business. And I love that, you have obviously have your own system that you used, and kind of, you know, gave you that turning point, I should say, towards that path on what you call the big life. So can you kind of explain a little bit about why do you call it? Why did you name it the big life? Like what was the
Um,
defining moment behind all of that?
Well, many people think that the big life or something, doing something big, it's related to success. And kind of, yes, is. Many people chase success, but success alone isn't enough. So I help people create what I call a big life. So a life defined by courage, connection, contribution. So it's about really living fully, finding what truly matters and taking bold steps to expand beyond what you thought was possible. So when I talk about living a big life, I'm not talking about a bigger paycheck or a bigger house or even a bigger title. Those are measures of success. And success is fine, but a big life is different. I would say that a big life is about how you expand, the expansion in all dimensions of who you are, your purpose, your courage, your connections, your contribution. So it's not about what you accumulate, but about what you activate in yourself and in others. So even working in these big companies, I felt like small. I felt like I needed to fit in. So I needed to play by the rules that not necessarily was me. So I was like acting the way that in order to get into the into the ladder or get into the top of the ladder in a corporation. But you know when inside of you there's a voice or something that says that's not you, or you can do much more. You can do something different and really have an impact. So I know many people who are successful by the world's standards. They've got the corner office, the recognition, the income, but inside I know they feel small. So, because success without meaning, without that contribution that I spoke, without alignment to who you really are, feels really empty. So, living a big life means your outer achievements reflect your inner alignment. So, in a nutshell, I would say living a big life is choosing those things: courage to grow, connection to matter, and contribution to impact.
Yeah, I love that. So building, so building that on the, the service, the alignment and the rhythm, I feel like of all of that is that word big. And I feel like just like you said, I feel like most people have a huge misunderstanding on how to create one. So I love that you have this system that people can kind of resonate with this because you're right. I work with entrepreneurs and people that, high achieving, corporate, that climb the corporate ladder and they're like, I just feel like I want to leave. Like, I don't feel like this is serving me anymore. And it's because on paper and in their bank account, it's, they have the money, they're very successful on paper. But like you just said, it's how they feel inside. And I feel like that for me is what made me feel like a success because I was chasing this success. I had this success, but I didn't feel it inside. And that's kind of like, a little bit of my story too that helped kind of.
Yeah, and don't make me wrong. Most people don't wake up one day and decide, "Oh, I'm gonna live small," right?
Right. Right.
But that that little by little, they trade courage for comfort. They say yes when they should say no. They play by other people's rules, as I said. They silence their own voice to fit in an environment and expectation or a definition of success that doesn't belong to them. So, I always ask also that why does this happen? So, and I know, and you have detected that maybe in your life and with your clients, fear is mostly one of the reasons. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of disappointing others. But there's always a cost. When you live small, you shrink not only your own potential, you also limit the people around you. Teams get disengaged in your company, families feel disconnected, business lose their spark. So living small is contagious, but
Yeah.
so is living big. So we have a solution.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that you said that also too, fear of success, especially for me, speaking from my perspective or my experiences and perspective, mine has always there's been a trend with mine of, I should say not trend, pattern of mine of when I would get to that success or I would get to that, I would fear, like if there would be some fear inside of me, how about if I get too successful? Then what? Then the rabbit hole of everything that you just said with fear. And it was at the end of the day, it's always that limitation, like breaking through that limitation of fear.
Mm.
So, you can help, obviously in, your expertise, helping people break through this. If it's emotional, personal, mental, whatever, it could be financial. That's a huge one too. So I love
Yeah.
that you have this part, and you like married them together. Having that financial background, is just huge in general, but also having the awareness of I can help you with this and this. So from your experience, like over, the 3 decades of working with human behavior, what is the most invisible limitation that people don't realize that is holding them back?
Well, I would say that the biggest limitation, if I choose, is that they don't know. The biggest limitation is they don't know that they are living a small life. They don't know it. So it's not that there are bad people doing bad things or doing the wrong things. We've been programmed. We have a conditioning since we were kids, and from our families, for our environment, for our teachers, our friends, and even with our own experiences, we build some beliefs of what I can do or what I cannot do. So, and we settle or cast in stone and say, well, this is the way I am. So they are trapped in their own condition and they are trapped in their own decisions of being the same as they are and they have been in the past. So I would say, and I always say to all my clients, all the people I have worked with, even people like you, Lauren, that I don't know you, but I know you perfectly because you and me are exactly the same. We have the same potential, the same capabilities. Mentally, I would say exactly the same potential. The only difference between you and me is the story you were told and the story I was told. So the idea is the limitation is okay, you are the way you are, and you have the results you have because you are acting the way you are. You are aligned to that. But if the results that you're having are not the ones that you like, then I'm going to tell you the bad news is that you cannot change the results, but with the conditioning that you have, you cannot overpass your conditioning. At least, as psychologists say, 96% of our results come from our habitual behaviors or habitual beliefs. But the good news is that you can change those beliefs. You can change that conditioning. You have that power. And even you weren't responsible of having that way of living or those beliefs. But now that you know the results that you have, you don't like them. Now that you know what you want, and that's a key question, if you really know what you want, then you are responsible to change your condition. So you are responsible to break that and set and build a set of beliefs conducive to that result that you want. And it's simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's simple to figure it out that what I need to believe or what beliefs do I need to have in order to live that life, in order to have that result. And when you find them, and that's exactly the way I work with my clients, and it's easy, it's not therapy. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychology, it's fast. As soon as you know what you want, we are going to make the beliefs, we're going to make that set of beliefs conducive to that results. And whatever you were in the past, don't fight it. They're gonna disappear by lack of nurturing because you're gonna be focusing on these new beliefs and acting on those, not only thinking but acting positively. And then later, but sooner than later, you're gonna need a telescope to see where you started.
Yeah, I was gonna say yes, and when I'm like hearing you talk, I just like going through for myself and like my own clients too. I noticed that for the longest time, I lived that. I lived focused on the path, trying like reliving trauma, trying to relive, like trying to fix everything, versus focusing on what do I want my life to look like, and creating that reality. Because like you said, it is very simple. Like if you want something, I'm not saying that it's easy, like I agree, I resonate with what you said, but it's simple because you get to choose. And I think for me, and like hearing you listen and the listeners that will be listening, I hear most of them or some of them that reach out to me, uh, they're like, why do you keep saying that? And I'm like, but it's true. You choose your reality. So if you just stop doing that and do it different, I just usually say it very compassionate and loving, but I'm like, do something different then. If you don't like that, do something different.
Exactly.
It's like,
You have,
how do
you
you
have
do
that
that?
power. You have that power.
Yes, I think that's the key. I feel like a lot of us humans, like our humanness, we give that power away and we don't even realize that we're giving that power away until you realize it and then you stop it. Right?
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk a little bit about, you said something about alignment and like success. Can you kind of explain to if somebody, like many people chase success and then they, like you said, they feel empty. How would you help somebody shift from like achievement driven living to aligned driven living?
Yeah, it's a good question because coincidentally, causally, as I say, because there are no coincidences, and most of my clients, most of the people that ask for help, are successful people, people that are on the top. And most of them, they don't know why they are there. They can say, well, I did this, I did that, but really, really, success comes from inside, comes from a mindset, from comes a decision to do something new, to break the rules. And I'm talking mostly entrepreneurs, a little bit more than executives, but also in big companies, you can break through different ways and really create something new. So most of my clients are those kind of people that are already successful, but they say, well, I'm still alive, so it looks like I can do more. But to get to the next level when you feel successful, it's really hard when you don't understand exactly what happened inside of you in order to be successful. So you cannot replicate it as easy. You need to find those things and then you need to analyze what are those things that make you successful. But then most of them say, well, I have money. I have some of them don't have a lot of health because they risk their health in order to get that successful or to get that money. And but say, how can I do something more not only for myself? Most of them they don't tell you that way, but they looking for meaning, something bigger than themselves. So here is when it comes the word purpose. So you can look successful on the outside by the cultural or societal standards. But when you are not fulfilled, when you are not impacting others, when you don't have a purpose that goes beyond you, that's not enough. And those are the kind of people that I'm looking for, even though they are not telling me, oh, I need a purpose because I feel unfulfilled. No, they feel some uneasiness that say, I think I'm on the top. I'm successful, but I don't know why I feel the way I feel, that I'm not satisfied. So right, it's the way when we work on what do you want, but not what do you want for you. What do you want for others? And for all the money that you have, all the things that you have done, maybe you have done it focusing more in your family and the way of living because that's the way we're conditioned. But when you look towards others, then you're going to find a new meaning. When whatever you do for your family and for yourself impact not only your small community, but beyond that, and you're really helping others to succeed or to thrive, then is when you find fulfillment. Then is when you find that thing, or you answer that little voice or big voice sometimes inside of you telling me, what else? And I always say to people, yes, you can take care of your family and pay your bills, but that's not a big life. That can be done by a lion, a horse, or a pig. They take care of their family, and you better take care of your family because you decided to have a family. But that's the minimum, minimal, minimal. You're a human being with a huge potential. So I ask you, what else? What is your contribution to the world? So when they look at beyond themselves at what success could be, they don't talk about success. They talk about fulfillment, purpose, and impact. And there, a huge door opens to their lives and say, "Well, I want to live another 60 years just to experience that and see that and leave that legacy for others." So it's a combination of things I know I talked about now, but it's really when you say, "Well, I'm living a big life." And just to finish to answer your question about success, you're not successful because you get the result. You are successful in that moment that I just mentioned. When you find out what you really want, what is the impact, even though you haven't done it yet, but you know where you're going and you are even willing to die for that, in that moment, you are successful. And then you just need to go through your life, seeing the results, living the experience. But be successful is the person that decides what they want, decide and start working on it, not to get. Because even a big goal or purpose sometimes is infinite. You're never gonna see your purpose realized, at least not in your life. But working and living every day, thinking, "Oh, today I'm working on my purpose," is enough to have a big life, to live a big life, and that's enough to really live the rest of your years not repeating the same results, but living that successful of being in the right track.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, that was powerful. Like I had full body chills the entire time you were talking. And
Yeah.
speaking very powerfully on, purpose leading the way. How would somebody begin to uncover their purpose when they feel disconnected from the meaning or just like unsure of like their next steps?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people talk about that or ask me that question. So I would say that in the search for the meaning of our life, we're going to find ourselves sooner or later with the desire to live with it, with purpose. So I would say four things you need to do. One, you have to identify an ambition in you, something that you have never achieved and really inspires you. So that's the one thing, something big, an ambition. I call it an ambition, something big that you have never achieved, that even scares you. Say, wow, just looking at it or picturing it in my mind, had those chills that, wow, it scares me, but at the same time, excites me. So the second thing I would say, you have to focus your attention on service, and that's on others. May your ambition really impact other people's lives. Make sure that has that characteristic. Third, I would say, get into action. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Let things unfold naturally. So the answers will come on the way. You don't need to see the whole plan or the whole path. You just start walking. And fourth, I would say, and very, very importantly, allow yourself to be used by your purpose. Let your purpose guide you. You don't need to guide it yourself. If you build a big purpose or a purpose big enough, your purpose is gonna have more power than yours. Your power is really tiny, tiny in comparison of that purpose. So let your purpose pull you towards it rather than you trying to guide your purpose, which is different when you guide an objective or your own success. It has to be that big that I would say it is the only way. It's not only what you do, what lead you to live a full life and live this big life, but it's your purpose. So why you do it. And I would say if you follow these four things that I mentioned, I think you're gonna be sooner rather than later in that path of living a big life because you know your purpose and you're working on it.
Yeah. Lately, I've been thinking about that because a lot of people have been coming to me. I use human design or I use these other systems to understand their incarnation cross in human design, which would be purpose, why we came here, why you reincarnated, all the things. Same thing with astrology. You can find out your purpose.
Mm.
But I'm starting, my question to, to people is, you know, in a way, the same kind of four things that you just talked about, because it has to be something that you're, passionate about. And then I started thinking to myself, what if everybody's purpose is just them to do what they love, what they are passionate about, helping others, like being that leader that all of us have inside of us? Then I was thinking that could just be everybody's life purpose, because if we focus on ourselves and then look at the world from inside out, that's how that ripple effect, impact happens, growing other leaders. You in this leadership position or somebody in a leadership position, I believe that that's where other other leaders are created as leaders. So can you kind of distinguish like a leader and what is a simple like performance that one could um, actually multiply that impact and lift others up into leadership? Like, what is one
Oh.
thing that they could do?
Well, of course, being a leader is about others because you don't lead by yourself. But, well, you can lead your life, and to be honest, you need first to lead your life. But in order to be a leader, you have to have followers. But they are not your employees. There are people that are, and you don't want followers that are following you because they don't have any purpose, so they cling into your purpose because they kind of think of their own. No, there. First of all, you're going to picture a vision. So a leader is someone that picture a vision, something that nobody sees, maybe only the leader sees in their mind, and the other people believe in that vision even though they are not seeing it, and maybe they have a lot of doubts, but their own little purpose, let's say, I'm going to say little because they are the follower, because if they were the leader they have a big vision, but if they have a vision and the little vision has something to do with that big vision of the leader, has to be a connection. I don't want empty followers that just following because they don't have their own mindset or the way they want to live, but a connection with their vision, with my vision. So, and then you help them get their vision, which it should be part of the big vision. So it's not how you, follower, help me get to my vision. So how can I help you? Every single one of you build your own vision, and the conjunction, the group of those visions together work and build the big vision. So it's always towards them. How I make the people that I'm following me be leaders as well. So be stand out. And I will say there are a lot of leaders around the world, and you don't need a title. You don't need to be really pointed to be a leader. And sometimes at the beginning you don't even need followers. You just need to have that vision first. And to be honest, if what you do or say make someone stand taller, believe deeper, and act bolder, you are a leader.
Love that. Yes. That's very powerful. Thank you for distinguishing between a leader and a follower. And all of us at some point had to be a follower until we became.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like for me, it has been transition. It's like a transition period right now for me of I never really thought of myself as a leader until I'm open to listening and hearing other people's feedback, or actually asking for people's feedback, which is just another gentle reminder to myself that, I can ask that. What is your opinion about this? I need, what is your feedback? And they say those exact same words to me. And it's like stepping into that authority can feel uncomfortable. But then I'm like, this is how it's supposed to feel, my own limitations, my own belief systems, all of that. And I feel like a lot of people, that self-doubt, that
Yeah.
self-sabotage, all of it together, we all have it. And I feel like every level, you included, right? Like every level, there's just somebody a little bit higher than you, higher frequency, it's just about frequency, right? So higher frequency that is showing you the way so you can continue your vision. For the longest time, I had this huge vision that I had no idea how to like what I was doing. I was just continuing to put one, same thing with why I created this podcast. I had a vision to help other leaders, to help other, help with what I could help with having the world, know about who they are. It doesn't have to be this huge, big podcast. I'm just contributing to society with the people that are open to it, right? And I think that that is the contribution and sharing that, every single one of us, the listeners, the people listening, most of them, yes, are entrepreneurs, but there could also be somebody that's not listening to them that's an entrepreneur and just kind of creating from that space. And I think that's where the power comes from, that I believe.
Yeah, and a little secret about leadership. I believe that when you have a vision and you want to lead that vision and you don't know nothing about how you're going to accomplish it, your followers, that's why you go to your followers to find out how you can do it. Rather than, okay, we're going to do this. I have this plan. You do this. No. When you are a leader and have a vision, you don't have no clue of how you're going to accomplish it. So that's why you get a group of followers with their ideas. You're going to find the way and you're going to change the way through the path. So I say it's a little secret book because a lot of people think leaders knows it all. But no, I would say even the opposite. They don't know nothing. They just want that vision and fall in love with that vision and the people fall in love with that vision. And then now what? Let's figure it out. But if we are more people thinking about it, we will figure it out. But I don't have a clue how to do it. So I lead my people with their ideas, with asking questions to get to the path, to get to the plan. And then there's no way to fail.
Yes. Yes. I can definitely resonate with that because I always thrive for me personally. I always thrive in relationships and community. And I'm really good at building relationships and community. So it's like I have to ask questions. I sometimes forget to ask for feedback. And I just remembered, oh, I need to ask them. They have the answer. So I guess in a way, subconsciously, I knew what I was doing without knowing what I was
Yeah,
doing.
sometimes.
I was just asking. I ask a lot of questions. I've always asked a lot of questions. I'm very curious because I feel like that curiosity keeps me open to, oh, I can look at it from this perspective. Oh, I can, learn from, and I'm always open to learning and expanding. So yes, that's,
Yeah.
that's right on, that's right on track. So if somebody is listening right now and knows what they're meant for, but they feel maybe stuck. Maybe there's just like one little shift that you can invite them in to start today. What would that be to create their own big life?
Well, certainly, I have my method is asking you the first question. I've already said it. What do you want? And I know, and I remember in another podcast say, well, I guess a lot of people answer that question with, I don't know. But no, it's the opposite. A lot of people, when I ask them that question, what do you want? They say a bunch of things that they want. But then I ask them, why? And why? And why you want that? And why you want that? And when you drill down, they figure it out that most of the things that they want, they were conditioned to want them. They were asked, or in the story of their lives, they knew or they learned that they needed to want marriage, two houses, X number of kids, or X number of travel. So everything that that people say immediately what they want is something that they learned and not necessarily what they really want. And maybe that's the key other word. The other key word is really. What do you want? And you drill down, drill down, drill down. So that's, I would say, that's my first sessions with my clients until so they start questioning everything, even all their beliefs and what they thought they want. And they question, and I always say that question everything, even your most important and sacred belief. until you fall in love with something. And this is related with what you just mentioned about passion. A lot of people say, oh, figure out what is your passion. What are you passionate about? And then do whatever to fulfill that passion. In whatever you do, you're going to be successful. No, in my opinion, you have to look at your passion in order or related to the result. What is the result that you are passionate about? And then do whatever you need to do to get that result that you are passionate about, even things that you don't like to do. So, with those two things at the beginning, they figured it out, or they have a very different perspective of the way they are thinking. And I could say, even in a word, that's what I teach people to do, to think, because we don't think. We just react, as I mentioned, to our conditioning. And even when I ask you the question, what do you want? I know you're going to tell me a lot of things that you were learned to want until we drill down, and then you find what you really, really want, and then you connect it with your talent. One talent, not many talents, one talent, and you put it into work to get to that result that you are passionate about, to say it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. The one, maybe you can speak on this too. Another question that had popped up in my mind when I'm listening to you is specifically when it has to do with, life purpose and like I have all of these things that I want to do and I have this big vision and I have this and that. So how do I do it? So the question is if, you ask, like you just said, you'll ask, what do you want? Those why? So it gets down to that root of their pretty much their purpose and what drives them. What would you say to somebody that is kind of in this transition or shifting into maybe talking to a new audience, or maybe they were an entrepreneur that, maybe aspiring to be an entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur that is kind of shifting into like a new audience? I'm noticing a lot of people that are kind of shifting. We're all pretty much shifting right now, but I noticed a bigger pattern on people shifting into this sharing versus promoting versus collaboration for, a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs, I should say. What would you say to them on, income and attracting clients? And like, if their surface level question that they always ask is, people don't want to pay me, or it's not that higher level, it's kind of like in between, like, that free versus doing everything for
Mhm.
free versus having people pay what you're saying. This is how much this is how much I charge, and people just say, here's my credit card. What would you say to those entrepreneurs and how they can kind of shift that mindset on at a like a frequency level?
Well, first of all, you have to start from the stage that your job, let's say, is to help them. That's the first thing. You are for them. They are not your clients for you. You have to have that thinking in your mind all the time, mostly when you are talking with your prospect, that you are here to serve. The idea is how I can help you, and then know how can you help me being my customer or my client, because I need the money, because I need this quote that I need to cover. So first of all, you have to have in your mind and in your words and in your heart thinking, how can I really, really help you? And ask the right questions, and find out what they want. And then you have to transmit them your trust, and that's the first coin. The first transaction is in trust, not in money. If they don't trust you, even $1 or even for free, they just not gonna do it. They're not just gonna do it. So trust is the first currency that you need to use. But everything comes from your heart. That really you really need to be in that mental state of I want to help you. And something more practical, or something more another thought that you can have is that, even you can tell your client, is that if you're like me, like a life coach, and you're gonna help them get to something big, and that something big is gonna last for their lifetime, they say, well, yes, you need to invest in yourself. Well, two things I can say. First of all, yeah, maybe you're not accustomed to invest in yourself this amount of money, or invest in a coach, and that's nobody's looking for a coach, but everybody wants to a better life. So until they figure it out that if you're really a better life and a big life, mostly the way I work, you're gonna need help. Nobody lives a big life with by themselves. I'm doing it by themselves. I'm not saying you can do it. Maybe you can do it, but it's gonna be a long way. It's gonna have a lot of hurdles, a lot of suffering that you can save when you get a coach. And getting into this transaction that you need to get with them in terms of money to say, well, you're going to pay me something that is going to help me, yes, with my expenses and whatever in a short term. But for you, you're going to learn something that's going to stick to your life and help your life forever. So value, price. So people are thinking about the price, but the value. But if you don't set up that what they really want have a bigger value than the price you are charging, they don't see it as an investment. They see it as an expense. So you have at the beginning or through the conversation, they have to set up or they have to figure it out. What is that value? What is that what they want? So when you come to the investment, it should be nothing. So that's one perspective, and the other, you're not investing in what who you are right now. You're investing in that person that that makes millions of dollars, let's say, depending on the goal. So this investment is nothing. So there's different ways that you can lead with this and really manage this. But really, really, I'll come back to my first advice. Do it with your heart. Do it. If you're a coach, you want them to have a better life. And that's exactly what I do it. And I don't want people to have just a good life. I want them to have a big life. And not because I love people, because yes, I do love people, I want them to be happy. We need you. It's a responsibility if you have that potential in you because you're a human being to live a big life and have that ripple effect. That's the way the world's going to change. So I'm doing this. It's not just a business. It's a mission with the business. If you, Lauren, that you're a coach as well, and many coaches that are hearing right now, can get more people to stand out and live their full potential and be living what I say a big life with a big purpose, the world can change like this by that ripple effect. I always say that the millions of small lives, the effect, the compound effect of millions of small lives is catastrophic. It's exactly why the way we are living today in the world. But so is the other way around. Imagine millions of lives, of big lives, the compound effect of millions of big lives can be transformative to this world. So if you're a coach, you have a responsibility not to earn some money. That's easy. Earn money, it's easy in this world. But to have an impact in that person, and that's why I recommend you choose people that have impact on others, not just on themselves. So that way you have that ripple effect multiply, and you're gonna feel fulfilled as a coach that you are really changing the world one soul at a time.
Yes, I was gonna say one soul at a time. Yes, I definitely resonate with that. Yeah, it's why I'm in a transition period right now to shift to what I want is to make all of my stuff free behind a community subscription and make everything free. Everything that I ever do is free, and in you know, it's just so noisy out there on social media, right? And it's my goal and what I see in my vision is I want all of my stuff, everything I've ever taught, everything I make, everything to be completely free. So everybody has resources. Obviously, that's money will have to get me there, but it's a transition to how can I share this and collaborate as the energy exchange, like because you said money is easy to make. Anybody can
Right.
go make money. You could go just work at some random place and make some money, right? But it's like that deeper purpose to why you do what you do. And I do want to appreciate, thank you so much for sharing all of your insight and sharing your heart with us today, Robert. And if something in this conversation opened you up, please take a moment to share it. Please tag us. Please go check out Robert's links all in the show notes. And if you feel like you're called to a deeper purpose, go look at your human design. Those links are below in the show notes as well. Or in leadership, stay connected with Robert through his links. Thank you so much for joining us on the episode on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a review and then share this episode with anybody that you feel that would gain knowledge from listening. I appreciate you being here with us today. Stay tuned for more powerful conversations next week, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week.